mind control gang victims, and a losing battle imposed on them in Iraq. To start with, I want to tell you something, which I personally see is that the mafia gangs are compared to gangs of mind control in Iraq. While mind control gangs in Iraq are the demon of an enemy of man who wants to completely end his life. This gang stole people here, but they did not stop and rest and without any logical reason at all use mind control weapons to kill the people here, inside Iraq, and they thought that no one would reveal them. The gang is completely insatiable, they are a family, there is no dirtier than all of them. Ellis means something dirty to steal the people and made them search in the piles of waste for something to eat, and despite this they did not leave him and his own, but as if they owned his body and his family. Sex and work purposes also made them mercenaries, and made them terrorist gangs also work against Europe and America and go out of Iraq also, so that the children did not survive and accused. They program these through mind control, and make them tools in their hand, also make them homosexual by the same brain programming. They also made the poor like mice experiments to develop weapons for mind control without any legitimacy, no law, etc. etc. Here we see that the mafia is the most merciful of these mind control gangs in Iraq.
Me than to go into my brain.
It sounds like somebody else is reading the book, only it's thoughts.
We're not having a group hallucination.
Steal your banking information, take all your money. They can steal your identity, but they can't really hurt you. In the future, though, if somebody hacks into your head because it's connected to the internet, they can steal you. They could actually steal you. They can implant memories in your head that you don't have. They could erase memories. They could control you in ways that you wouldn't even know you're being controlled. Is this scary? So I painted on the hand heaven.
Now we start this topic and I am just a commentator just to transfer a scene that represents a battle between victims of the mind control and the gang inside Iraq, and I will try to be neutral in transferring the image, as it is without any addition from me, even though I am a victim also. Now we start the comment. I welcome you, viewers and readers, and convey to you the facts of a war raging that does not stop, a secret war and human massacres. Of course, Iraq is like an ocean that seems clear from the surface, but in the depths, there is a struggle for survival and the law of the strongest eats the weak. Here, we take the first team to describe it to you, a gang of mind control, and they are, as I said previously, an intelligence network affiliated with the former regime in LR. It returned again after the international forces left, and they were the ones who were attacking these forces. Also, their elements were inciting people against the United States of America and against European countries, and they were spreading false rumors about those countries, which is the method of the fifth line they have, and when this network returned, they took control of everything and became one of actually governing Iraq or shadow. Of course, the leader of this team is an intelligence officer, and this devil made himself a prophet inside Iraq and said that God told him to be against America and the countries of Europe as he made this terrorist network, wore a variety of persuasion from them that they are a holy organization or a tribal organization, etc. Of persuaded him as it is she gave to Nefsoha has a security characteristic, and has become a security apparatus, but in a confidential manner, I mean the same as it was before him. He also opened branches for it in many cities in Iraq and devised laws that nobody works with except the gang, but he said that God told him this, and he made all their records in his hand is inside a computer in his hand. It is this demon that does not appear, but leads this gang, and it is hidden, but it uses other bodies, and these bodies he chooses it from slavery victims or people who are hunted like this, and puts mind control slides on them, and with these slides, he can see and hear through these bodies, and this becomes as if he entered her body, and after this he records items, and gives orders, etc. Of course every body gives a period for him, and then he by killing him and jumping to enter another body, as if a snake completely changed her skin. Of course, this method will make him survive any danger that will fall on the victim's head only, and that those outside the gang will think that she is the leader of the gang, because the gang members are the one who will say this, and these are orders from this devil. Before I complete the first team description, she symbolized complements this devil.
One wrong can move a people, and a wronged people can move the world.
If you refuse me, honey, you lose me. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me.
Into your body, the desire in your heart. I gave you this. Such a waste. Come to me, my child.
أما سمعتم يا قوم ما أوحي إلي؟
وقتلته. سوف أكون معك دون أن تشعر، وسأمكنك منه، فأنا النبي.
Now we come to the second person in this gang, who is a despicable squirting security agent from the days of the previous regime, also, and none of the security reports was escaped from him at that time, but all the security agents were unknown, so this was not known to anyone about him, of course, according to the information that I have in his area. Your pardon, or noodles. This filthy went to the Church of the Gospel in Iraq and belonged to it, even though he has no religion, in order to change something, but it is a virus. He registers himself in anything, and after this he has a whole group that works in security, and this despicable person is a homosexual now. Many victims say someone is trying to impose something, a gender against them, or homosexuality, as I heard from many victims that they say that there are people who say about them that they are homosexuals, or that the method of torture is as if it was issued by a person who works in a gang law and wants to destroy them in any way. Clearly against the Christians, the Jews, and everything in Europe and America. He is looking for any reason to harm, and if he does not find, he invents a reason for himself. Of course, this despicable person was spying on the bases of the armies of the coalition countries inside Iraq, because he works in security and he records the name of every person who goes to those forces from the Iraqis, then give all this information to Shabak. The terror that I mentioned to you about this is this truth. This filthy, of course, is the second person in this gang that comes after the devil, who made himself a prophet, and this homosexual security agent is the director of weapons for mind control in Iraq, and these weapons were present with this intelligence network at the time of the previous regime. Originally, this means that no one gave it to them, but they did not use it to not need it, but after leaving 6. After the international forces left Iraq and the control of this gang, they had to get rid of their enemies, and they are the friends of America and the countries of Europe that this gang sees as the only threat to them inside Iraq, and really began a brutal campaign against them, but using weapons for mind control, which kills without any evidence. And also other hideous methods were used, which are killing with other weapons and threats, and they made many of them become next to gangs against America and the countries of Europe. This is because of the threat and fear. Of course, how does a Christian strike another Christian on the pretext that this is from Europe and America? It is the tricks of this demon who made himself a prophet, and I think that many victims appeared. It seems like strange laws. This is the truth. This abnormal security agent who has gangs inside Iraq led by or the youth or young division. This filth has programmed all his followers through mind control to control them, and all of this has been spent billions of money on him, and all of the money of the people in Iraq, who it is similar to the camel that carries gold, but it only eats thorns, and the problem is that they did not let them eat these thorns and dreamed of, but even his life was not greeted by them, and the gang wanted to stay alone in Iraq. They are killed without any reason, so of course, just planting a slice means that it is the end, because that DNA will be affected. Of course, one of the attempts that I made was that I asked the gang members say explicitly that they do not want the friends of America and the countries of Europe, or the poor and the weak in Iraq. but they did not do this and they continued here. Now a description of this anomalous security agent who made himself as the devil, who seduces people or experiences them. I mean, for example, he says that this is bad and on the basis of this be while he is the one who will make him ill and enter ideas or dreams and play a game. Reading thoughts. This terrorist is involved in attacks against international forces and has had a major role in inciting people to these countries. He has become the dear son of this gang, or the family of Satan, who does anything and achieves his dirty dreams of killing, harm and evil, without anyone being held accountable because he is with this the devil who made himself a prophet, and it is a catastrophe to find that this has become influential or elements belonging to him in the countries of Europe and America. Now you have a description of it.
He's an animal with a human face, and I'll never forgive him for what he did.
All right, next. Time to see you lose your temper. Your ex. What's wrong? Don't want to remember? Why hasn't she sent a text? Where the hell is she? I think she's having sex. It's such a pity you were so pathetic when she walked out the door to a guy more athletic and so much more better than you. Hey, why you hate me? You're weak, scared, too feminine. And what's with the rhyming? You're like Eminem without the skill, words, or timing. You're so insecure and yet you tell me you're not? Well, if you're so sure, maybe you forgot what I've done till now. How I've succeeded.
Is there any law against me getting something here?
Yeah, me.
Why are you pushing me?
What did you say?
So why are you pushing me? I haven't done anything to you.
First of all, you don't ask the questions around here. I do. You understand?
I am going through a literal hell on earth. And,
Now that I described to you the first team, and I beg you, sorry for prolonging, the talk about evil stars, and they are all professionals of various kinds of harm, and as I said, if we compare these with the mafia, we find that the mafia is much better than them. At least will the victim guarantee her life, but I also see that the monsters are also better than gangs for mind control, if they were compared to them. Now, we reach the second team, which in reality it does not want to play at all, but escapes. But the first team forces it and forces it to play a game. He knows that he will lose this team consisting of the poor and the weak. And the friends of America and the countries of Europe, all of them are not a block or combat group, but very simple people, die tender, peaceful. We take some of the poor, and those who do not have anything. There is no weapon and no money. Of course, this war is imposed on them completely, but despite this they remained in their condition, as if each of them was waiting for their turn, so that the next prey, of course, requires a lot. That means when you fight alone, you have a different method, but when you have friends, this is better, and when you have money and make elements that become followers of you and you are a leader over them, this is much better. But what happened is that the poor stayed the same way, while the first team is the one who searches for someone to compete with him and chases him to catch him and put him in the competition arena, or the square. Here for the victims, they have always faced a whole team that works in coordination, while they are always alone, and many of them are very poor, not ready for such a war at all. Of course, the first method is to define the goal and completely isolate it and remove any source of strength for him so that they enter the war and they won in advance. And now zero judgment. At the beginning of the game we see the first team was attacked, while the second was frozen.
حتى أحترم أسمعك ولا كل شي معك